Good job.
Those are Duke's men.
One big team moving.
At the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Ellen Cole, an aging widow living a quiet, unremarkable life in the small town of Bighorn Ridge, Montana. We watch her go about a completely ordinary morning, picking up medication at the pharmacy, grabbing a couple boxes of beer from the corner store. Nothing about her screams danger. She looks like exactly what she appears to be, a tired old woman getting through her day. But just a few feet away, something else is unfolding. We're introduced to Abigail Cochran, a young woman with nothing left to lose. She's just been caught shoplifting, chocolate bars, jerky, anything she can carry, and it's clear she's desperate. Her father, an alcoholic, has recently died, leaving her completely alone in the world. She's not stealing for fun. She's stealing because she's planning to disappear from this town forever, and she has no money to do it with. Here's where the movie throws us its first small mercy. The town sheriff, a man named Winston, catches her red-handed but doesn't arrest her. Instead, he tells his deputy, Henry Dhar, to drive her out to the edge of town and let her go. It seems like a kind gesture. Keep that in mind, because nothing in this story is as simple as it looks. During the drive, Henry tries to make conversation, but Abigail wants nothing to do with small talk. She's shut down, guarded, done with people. He drops her at a gas station and drives off, probably assuming that's the last he'll ever see of her. It isn't. At the gas station, two men, Kyle and Duane, spot Abigail trying to hitch a ride and decide she's an easy target. They corner her, pushing and pressuring her to get in their car. She refuses. They don't take no for an answer. That's when Ellen steps in. What happens next is the first real clue that this old woman is not who she seems. In a matter of seconds, she takes both men down without breaking a sweat. Abigail is stunned. She's just watched a grandmother in her 70s flatten two grown men like it was nothing. Grateful and a little shaken, Abigail accepts Ellen's offer of a ride. As they drive, we learn Abigail's actual plan. Get to Mexico, then somehow make her way to Machu Picchu, a dream destination she's held onto for years. Ellen, ever the realist, gently points out that Machu Picchu is in Peru, not Mexico. It's a small moment, but it tells us something important. Underneath the toughness, Ellen still has warmth, even humor. Instead of dropping her at the highway and calling it a day, Ellen makes a decision that will change both their lives. She brings Abigail home to her ranch, a property that happens to sit uncomfortably close to a massive construction site. Ellen insists the girl at least eat a real meal and sleep in a real bed before she disappears into the world. That night, over dinner, the two women open up to each other in a way neither expected. Ellen reveals a detail that catches Abigail off guard. Her father used to help Ellen around the property after her husband passed away. Suddenly, this isn't just a stranger's kindness. There's history here, threads connecting these two lonely people. Abigail finally explains what really happened to her father. He wasn't always a broken man. He changed after a construction company, owned by a man named Duke, rolled into town to build a dam. That dam destroyed a creek her father loved deeply, and something in him cracked after that. He drank himself into oblivion and eventually was found dead at the dam site, having drowned. Abigail admits she's exhausted by this town and just wants to see the world. Ellen doesn't discourage her, but she does offer a piece of wisdom that lingers. Seeing the world is valuable, but so is having somewhere to come home to. Somewhere that's yours. To cut through the heaviness, Ellen jokes that the two of them are basically orphans now, and for the first time, they share a real laugh together. It's a peaceful moment. It will not last. The next day, we're introduced to the man causing most of the misery in this story, Richard Duke, a wealthy land developer who shows up at Ellen's ranch in a limousine, flanked by his enforcer, Mitch Clay. Duke wants Ellen's land for a luxury resort project, and he's prepared to make her an offer. Serious money, a free property anywhere in his portfolio, even a lifetime VIP membership. Ellen doesn't even hesitate. Not for sale. Not now. Not ever. Not while she's still breathing. Duke doesn't handle rejection well. He storms off and gives Mitch a chilling order. Get her off that land, whatever it takes. That night, sensing danger might be coming, Ellen quietly packs a bag for Abigail, supplies, essentials, and a hunting knife for protection. It's a small gesture that will end up mattering more than either of them realizes. And then the house is breached. Kyle and Duane, the same two men from the gas station, both working for Duke, sneak into Ellen's home in the dead of night. Their plan is brutally simple. Stage an accident that kills the old woman and makes it look natural. Duane starts loosening the stairs, but Ellen wakes up, catches him in the act, and, despite her age, beats him unconscious using her own oxygen tank as a weapon. Meanwhile, chaos breaks out upstairs. Abigail, jolted awake by the noise, runs straight into Kyle. He chases her through the house until, in a desperate struggle, she finds a gun in a cabinet and shoots him in the shoulder. Kyle flees into the night, wounded and terrified. Abigail stands frozen, shocked by what she just did. Ellen calms her down and tells her to stay quiet. She'll take the blame for everything. Kyle reports the failed hit back to Mitch, who is furious that two grown men couldn't take down one elderly woman. Here's where the story takes its first truly infuriating turn. The next morning, police arrive, but instead of investigating a home invasion, Sheriff Winston brings up Ellen's earlier fight with Kyle and Duane at the gas station. Then, almost too conveniently, officers discover 12 marijuana plants in her barn. Ellen insists they're for personal use, but Winston informs her that Montana law caps personal cultivation at 4 plants. Anything more is a felony. So despite being the victim of an attempted murder in her own home, Ellen is the one who ends up in handcuffs. Deputy Henry clearly doesn't like where this is heading, but he follows orders and arrests her anyway. With Ellen gone, Abigail is left alone at the ranch, and she stumbles onto something that changes everything. Beneath the basement, she finds a hidden room. Inside, an arsenal of weapons, multiple passports under different names, and old photographs of Ellen in a military uniform. Whoever this woman really is, she's far more than a quiet widow with a beer habit. Back at the police station, an officer notices Ellen's tattoo of a tiger and strikes up an oddly friendly conversation about it, even showing off his own ink in return. Meanwhile, Duane, nose bruised from his earlier beatdown, mouths off before getting bailed out, while Ellen stays locked up. Ellen pleads with Winston to send protection to her house, connecting the dots to Duke. Winston shuts her down completely. She accuses him outright of being on Duke's payroll and asks him one final time if he intends to actually do his job. His answer, no. Not long after, Kyle and Duane are seen loading up gasoline cans. Their target is obvious. Back at the station, Henry, increasingly uneasy about the whole situation, brings Ellen her oxygen tank and finds her collapsed on the cell floor. He rushes in to help. Big mistake. Ellen was faking it. She overpowers him, steals his gun, and locks him inside his own holding cell. As she makes her escape, she disarms an officer, and when a female officer tries to tase her, Ellen turns the weapon right back on both of them, dropping them cold. She's out, and she's heading straight home. Once back at the ranch, Ellen hands Abigail the truck keys and begs her to run before the police catch up. Abigail refuses to leave her behind, not after everything. The police descend on the property. Ellen doesn't hide. She simply steps out onto her porch and waits. When Winston draws his weapon on her, she disarms him in seconds and puts him on the ground in front of his own officers, a humiliation he will not forgive. Furious, Winston calls for heavier firepower. Henry, sensing this is spiraling out of control, warns him that Abigail is still inside. They can't risk a firefight with her in the crossfire. He goes in unarmed to try to talk her out. Abigail won't budge. She's terrified of what will happen to Ellen the moment she steps outside. But instead of simply arguing, she shows Henry something that stops him cold. A hand-drawn map connecting a string of accidents across several ranches in the area. One burned down, blamed on a brush fire. Another lost its entire cattle herd to a botulism outbreak that shouldn't have been possible in that region, and its owner later took his own life. At first, Henry brushes it off as coincidence. But as Abigail keeps talking, doubt creeps in. Then comes a gut punch revelation. Abigail had always believed Henry was the one who found her father's body at the dam. He corrects her. He was only the first officer on scene. The people who actually discovered the body worked for Duke. Suddenly, her father's death doesn't look like an accident anymore. It looks like murder. Outside, the situation escalates fast. Mitch shows up with armed men, and Winston, sensing he's losing control, asks for a little more time to get Abigail out safely. Mitch gives him 3 minutes. When Winston radios Henry demanding Abigail be brought outside immediately, Henry refuses and starts questioning why Duke's private muscle is even involved in a police operation. Winston, with visible reluctance, ultimately gives Mitch the green light to move in any way. Henry still wants to believe Winston is one of the good guys deep down. Abigail isn't so forgiving. As far as she's concerned, Winston has already sold them out. Inside the house, Ellen makes a cold, calculated decision. She knocks Henry unconscious, viewing him as a potential liability in the fight ahead. She and Abigail drag him down into the hidden room, tie him up for his own safety, and lock the door behind them. What's coming next isn't a police standoff anymore. It's a small war. The men surrounding the house aren't just Duke's lackeys, they're trained mercenaries. Ellen, moving with eerie calm, begins rigging the entire house with booby traps. Meanwhile, back at the station, a background check on Ellen turns up almost nothing before 1999, when she first arrived in Bighorn Ridge. It's only when they run her tattoo through FBI databases that the shocking truth surfaces. Ellen isn't just an American widow. She's Russian, a former KGB operative who once carried the code name Sword and Shield. This woman wasn't just trained to fight. She was trained and paid to kill. Outside, Duane discovers something that makes his blood run cold. A set of practice targets, every single shot landing dead center. He realizes exactly what kind of woman they're about to go up against, and panic sets in. The mercenaries try ramming a vehicle straight through the house, but Ellen shoots out the tire before it gets close. One by one, men trigger her traps in the yard. Duane, too scared to continue, abandons his own team and flees. Mitch and the remaining mercenaries open fire on the house in a blind, chaotic assault, forcing Ellen to take cover. When Kyle kicks open the front door, another trap sends him flying across the lawn. The rest push their way inside, and that's when Ellen goes to work in the dark. She moves through the shadows of her own home like a ghost, taking down attacker after attacker with brutal precision, using their own weapons against them. One bullet, one kill, every time. Meanwhile, back in the hidden room, a mercenary hears noise and tries to force his way inside. Abigail manages to free Henry just in time. A gunman bursts through the door, overpowers Henry in the struggle, and Abigail steps in, taking the attacker down with a baseball bat. Elsewhere in the house, the fight is finally catching up to Ellen. Years of lung disease and the sheer physical toll of the battle leave her gasping for air. She reaches for her oxygen tank, but Mitch spots the opening and opens fire. She's hit. She fires back, but Mitch shields himself behind a fallen body until her gun runs dry. Then comes one of the film's darkest moments. Mitch mocks her, calling her a machine in her prime, before preparing to execute her. He even asks, almost mockingly, if she has any final request. Ellen's answer is ice cold, aim for the head. Before he can pull the trigger, Mitch turns around to find Henry standing there, gun raised. The three of them survive the night. And with Mitch now their prisoner, they finally get answers. Why does Duke want Ellen dead now, when the county was already set to seize her land within the year anyway? Mitch breaks. Duke, it turns out, is drowning in debt to dangerous people. If his resort isn't finished by next summer, he's finished too, which means he can't afford to wait for the legal process. He needs Ellen gone immediately, but the danger isn't over. While Abigail tends to Ellen's worsening condition, Mitch secretly pockets a wine opener that's fallen to the floor. Left alone with Henry, he needles him, reminding him that Winston abandoned him to die earlier that night. Henry loses his composure, gets too close, and Mitch uses the hidden tool to overpower him. By the time Ellen and Abigail rush back, Mitch has already set the house ablaze and dragged Henry outside as a hostage. Ellen fires after him in fury, but he escapes, and his remaining men surround the burning house to make sure no one gets out alive. With flames spreading fast, the trio retreats once more into the hidden basement room, grabs what supplies they can, and escapes through a concealed tunnel Ellen apparently built for exactly this kind of night. Outside, Mitch and his men watch the house collapse into flames, convinced they've finally won. They have no idea their targets have already slipped out from underneath them. Ellen, watching her home burn from a distance, is devastated. This wasn't just a house. It was the life she'd built after everything else was taken from her. By morning, while Mitch's men comb through the wreckage looking for bodies, Ellen leads Abigail and Henry to a truck she'd hidden away in the woods for emergencies. As they drive, Ellen finally shares her full story. She grew up with nothing. The KGB found her on the streets as a child and molded her into a weapon. Years later, she met her husband and, for the first time in her life, built something real. A home, a marriage, a sense of belonging. Now that too has been burned to the ground. They know that surviving isn't enough. They need proof that will actually bring Duke down. Abigail remembers her father may have left something behind, so they head to his old trailer and dig through his belongings. Buried among his things, they find documentation tying Duke's resort project directly to the string of accidents that destroyed other ranches in the area. Meanwhile, Duke gets an unwelcome phone call. The dangerous men he owes money to are done waiting. They want him to sign their agreement in person. Back in the forest, Abigail finally breaks down completely. She spent years resenting her father, embarrassed by him, dismissing him the way the whole town did. Now she knows the truth. He wasn't crazy. He was right. And it's time for Duke to answer for what he did. Henry, meanwhile, tracks down Winston and delivers a warning of his own. State police are already on their way to arrest him. That night, Duke learns the news he was dreading. Ellen is alive. And she's coming. One by one, in near total darkness, his guards outside start dropping. Ellen moves through the property like a shadow, silent and lethal. A terrified Duane hides Duke inside a closet, hands him a gun, and stands guard, bracing for the inevitable. At the same time, Abigail is out at the dam, planting explosives. Kyle finds her there and delivers the movie's most devastating reveal. He's the one who killed her father. He beats her while taunting her with the truth, fully expecting her to break. He's wrong. Abigail pulls the hunting knife Ellen gave her at the very start of the story and drives it into his stomach, leaving him for dead. That knife, a small act of kindness from an old woman to a stranger, just saved her life. Back at Duke's estate, every guard is dead. Someone approaches the closet door, and Duke, in a blind panic, empties his entire gun through the wood. When the door finally opens, it's Ellen. Duke assumes his time is up. Instead, she tells him something that should terrify him even more. She isn't there for him. She's there for Mitch. When Mitch arrives, Ellen makes it personal. He burned down her home, and now he's going to pay for it. She shoots him in the hand to disarm him, and he challenges her to fight, man to man. It's brutal. He gets the better of her early, but she gouges his eye, turns his own knife against him, and finishes it. With Mitch dead, Ellen drags Duke out into the forest and gives Abigail the signal. The explosives go off, and the dam, the same dam that destroyed her father's beloved creek and ultimately his life, comes down in a wall of water and debris. Duke, cursing Ellen's name, thinks his nightmare is over when one of the Russian creditors finally arrives to collect his signature. The man recognizes Ellen instantly and treats her with unmistakable respect. As the two speak in Russian, Duke smiles, assuming this stranger has come to save him from her. He's catastrophically wrong. Ellen simply lets the man take Duke away, and she knows exactly what waits for him. It's a fate far worse than anything she could have done herself. Sometime later, Abigail reads a newspaper article confirming Duke vanished without a trace following the violence at his estate. Henry, now the town's sheriff, stops by to drop off Ellen's medication, and before Abigail sets off, she and Henry share one last, quiet goodbye. And in the final moments of the film, Ellen and Abigail load up Abigail's father's old trailer and finally hit the road together. Not to Mexico, but toward the destination Abigail always dreamed of. Machu Picchu. Two women who lost everything, driving off to build something new. And that's the full story. An old woman with a deadly secret. A girl with nothing left to lose. And a corrupt developer who never stood a chance once he decided to mess with the wrong grandmother. If this breakdown kept you hooked from start to finish, don't just scroll past. Hit that subscribe button right now, because honestly, if you've made it this far into the video and you're still not subscribed, that's on you. We put real time into breaking these movies down for you, and it only takes 2 seconds to support the channel. So subscribe, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment below telling us what part of this movie shocked you the most. Was it the KGB reveal, the twist with Kyle, or Ellen's final line to Mitch? Let us know down there. We read every single comment, and we've got more breakdowns like this coming very soon. See you in the next one.